Meet the most dangerous women in America's prisons. Prisons are often thought of as places for men, but did you know that America's female prison population is growing, and among them are some of the most dangerous criminals in history? Today, we delve into the lives of the most notorious and dangerous women ever to walk the halls of U.S. prisons. These women have committed heinous crimes, some of which have shocked the nation and left a lasting impact on the criminal justice system. The infamous women of crime. From cold-blooded killers to master manipulators, these women aren't just dangerous, they're experts at surviving and thriving in the harsh world of incarceration. Let's start with one of the most notorious criminals in modern American history, Aileen Wuornos. Aileen Wuornos, a woman whose story has fascinated the world, was a prostitute turned serial killer. She murdered 7 men, claiming she did so in self-defense during attempted assaults. Her chilling crimes and subsequent execution in 2002 cemented her place in criminal history. Her case sparked debate about mental health, the criminal justice system, and the limits of self-defense, the manipulative mastermind. While some women commit crimes out of desperation or circumstance, others are calculated and manipulative, able to charm and deceive their way into deadly situations. Take the case of women like Linda Hazard, known as the starvation doctor. She preyed on wealthy victims, promising to cure them with extreme fasting techniques, ultimately leading to several deaths. Her charm and deceptive medical expertise were enough to convince many that she could cure them, but her methods led to a series of tragic deaths. Women who killed for love or revenge. Many of these women weren't just driven by a desire for money or power. Some were motivated by love, revenge, or intense emotional trauma. Take, for example, the case of Susan Smith, who drove her car into a lake with her 2 children inside, drowning them as part of an effort to gain sympathy and attention for her romantic relationships. Her trial captivated the nation and left an entire community grappling with the loss of innocent lives. This case is a tragic reminder of the emotional instability that can drive seemingly ordinary people to commit unspeakable acts. The cold-blooded leaders of crime rings. Some women are not just criminals, they're leaders. Throughout American prison history, women have led some of the most dangerous criminal organizations. One such woman was Queen of the Caves, a female inmate who rose to power within a violent gang, orchestrating murders, drug trafficking, and organized crime within the prison system itself. Her influence was so strong that even the guards were afraid to cross her. Her criminal enterprise continued to thrive even behind bars, dramatic music and closing shots of prison gates. These women are just a few examples of the dangerous, often deadly force that exists in America's prisons. Whether driven by desperation, love, or cold ambition, they have left their marks on history and the criminal justice system. Join us next time as we explore more chilling tales from inside America's toughest prisons. In the first part of this series, we uncovered some of the most notorious women in American prisons. But there are still more chilling stories to be told. In this second part, we explore the lives of women who have shocked the world with their cunning, violence, and unrelenting quest for power. The Psycho Killers. Some of the most dangerous women in America's prisons are those whose crimes seem almost unbelievable. They don't just kill, they do so with a cold and calculating demeanor that makes them even more terrifying. Take Diane Downs, for example. In 1983, she shot her own 3 children, claiming that a stranger did it. But investigators quickly uncovered a twisted motive. Downs wanted to be free of her children to pursue a new relationship. Her case horrified the nation. Her lack of emotion during the trial, combined with her calculated actions, led to a conviction that has haunted the public's perception of maternal love and justice. The vengeful women. Some of these women, driven by pain or betrayal, committed heinous acts in the name of revenge. Their thirst for justice, however twisted, has led them to become some of the most dangerous criminals in the country. One of the most talked about cases in recent history was Jodi Arias, who murdered her ex-boyfriend Travis Alexander in 2008. After a brutal attack, she meticulously planned the crime, even going so far as to clean up the crime scene and stage a story of self-defense. Aria's chillingly detailed confession and the evidence against her made her a figure that both fascinated and terrified the public. Her trial was a spectacle, and her manipulative behavior kept people on edge. The women who killed for money is often a powerful motivator for crime, and some women are willing to kill to get their hands on it. These women are ruthless, using manipulation, seduction, and deceit to gain wealth, power, and control. Betty Lou Beets is another example of a woman who would stop at nothing for money. She killed two of her husbands and collected life insurance benefits, all while maintaining an innocent and even maternal image. But once the truth came out, she was revealed to be a cold-blooded killer. Her ability to deceive and manipulate those around her made her one of the most dangerous women in history, and she is still remembered for the audacity and cunning that defined her crimes. The women who lead dangerous prison gangs. Even inside prison walls, some women refuse to be victims. Instead, they rise to power, leading dangerous gangs and criminal organizations. These women wield influence and control, using fear and violence to maintain their positions. In many cases, these women become leaders of criminal enterprises, running illegal operations from behind bars and orchestrating acts of violence both inside and outside of the prison system. Prison yard footage or interviews with correctional officers. One such woman was the leader of the Aryan Sisterhood, a violent white supremacist gang operating in prisons. She controlled a network of criminal activities, from smuggling drugs to arranging hits on rivals, and she ran her operations with an iron fist. Dark corridor, or fading images of prison life. These women have all left an indelible mark on America's criminal justice system, proving that danger knows no gender. Whether driven by revenge, greed, or a thirst for power, the
After exploring the cold-blooded killers, vengeful women, and ruthless criminals of America's prisons, we now dive deeper into the twisted world of manipulative inmates. In this third part of our series, we focus on women who use their intelligence, charm, and cunning to manipulate the system, their fellow inmates, and even entire prison facilities. Scene transition. Dark and eerie shots of prison walls and locked doors. The manipulators, masterminds. Behind bare close-up shots of women's prison faces, focusing on their eyes and expressions. Some of the most dangerous women in American prisons aren't necessarily the ones with the most violent records, but those whose ability to manipulate others makes them just as lethal. These women have perfected the art of mind games, making them a threat not only to their fellow inmates, but also to the prison system itself. Clara Harris, for example, committed murder in cold blood after discovering her husband's affair. However, it wasn't just the murder itself that stunned the public. It was the calculated way she planned her crime. After running over her husband with her car, she calmly reported it to the police, and her calm demeanor throughout the investigation made her seem even more dangerous. Her ability to stay composed in such a harrowing situation made her a chilling figure, and it showed the depths to which she would go to exact revenge. A master of manipulation, Clara Harris showed the world that sometimes it's not just physical violence that makes someone dangerous, it's the calculated nature of their actions. Women who used their charm to escape. Justice shots of women in courtrooms showing calculated expressions. Some women use their charm and allure as a weapon, gaining control over powerful people or manipulating the justice system itself to avoid conviction. Their ability to seduce and deceive has led to some of the most high-profile cases in American history. Martha Stewart, often celebrated for her business empire, is another example. While her case was centered around insider trading, her charm and public image helped her navigate a highly publicized trial. Though not as violent as some of the other women we've discussed, her manipulation of the media and public perception demonstrates how power and influence can shift even the most serious cases. Her case highlights how women with the right combination of wealth, charm, and influence can sidestep the justice system, creating a dangerous precedent for others. The Black Widow Killers. Deadly women who lure victim. Some women's crimes are so insidious, they gain a notorious reputation. Known as Black Widows, these women prey on vulnerable men, often marrying them or getting close to them before ultimately killing them for financial gain, insurance money, or in some cases, sheer malice. Velma Barfield is one such example. She poisoned several of her victims, including her own mother, over a span of years. She gained their trust, even marrying some of them, all the while secretly plotting their deaths to collect insurance money. Her manipulation and ability to hide behind a facade of innocence made her one of the most chilling Black widows in criminal history. Her actions left the world wondering how many others had been victims of her deception. Barfield's ability to blend into society and her cold use of poison as a weapon made her a terrifying figure, whose story remains a haunting reminder of the dangers of misplaced trust. The Unbreakable, women who survived and thrived in prison. While some women are dangerous because of their crimes, others are dangerous because of their resilience. These women not only survive the brutal conditions of prison, they thrive. They gain influence, control, and power, becoming untouchable figures within the prison system. Take the story of Susan Smith, who was convicted of killing her two young children. Once imprisoned, she became a highly influential figure among the other inmates, even after her notoriety as a child killer. Despite her violent past, she earned a sort of protection in the prison system, gaining access to privileges that many would.